somebody when I found you, found my most intimate.
It's for me in church.
You, I found what every heart dreams of.
Turn it up. Oh, mic's not on, so you can.
I found what every heart dreams of. When I found you, I found the rest of my life. When I found, I told all others goodbye. When I found you, I saw my fears fly away like a dove. When I found you, I found my fate in your arms. When I found you, I found no cause for alarm. When I
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Just getting started here. I want to welcome you to Maintaining Kingdom Marriages. It's Monday, and we are just going to talk about supporting, dating, and dating married couples. I want to talk about how you maintain kingdom marriage while in ministry. I want to talk about a lot. So can't wait for you guys to tune in, come in the room, come in the room, and let us know you're here so we can say hi to you. Just let us know, say hi, hey, how you doing? So we can get started in a few. We're so happy to on live and work with these people. Let me know if y'all can hear me.
Can you hear? Can you hear? Just 1, 2. Who getting married This is the getting ready song. I see General Lady C. Hey guys, let us know what the sound sounds like. This is the getting ready song. I see General Lady C. Let us know what it sounds like. All right. Can you guys hear? Can you guys hear? Is it good? Is it not? Let us know. We're trying to get some technical difficulties together. All right. I think that sounds good. There's an echo. Is there still an echo? There's an echo. All right. How about now? Is everything good? Someone says I can hear a high beep. All right. What about now, guys? Thing now. All right. Can you hear? Can you hear? Can you hear? We hear a fan noise now. All right. Let's see. What about now? It sucks. It sucks really bad. This is better? All right. Nice. Good now. Good now. Nice. Listen, what we want you to do is we want you to like, we want you to share, and we want you to comment. I want you to like, share, and comment. We're talking about marriage. Woo! Woo! We're talking about marriage and the importance of marriage. How can we work and be better partners? Marriage. It's crazy. It's marriage. Um, Listen, we're getting ready to get started. Like, share. We can see your comments. If you have any questions that you want to ask, anything that you wanted to say, let us know. Everyone will be able to see your comments. They will be able to see your questions. And let's grow together. Yeah. All right, my name is John Reinhardt, Pastor John Reinhardt, and we're from the New Destiny Temple of Faith, the senior pastor there, and we tonight is our start of marriage ministry. Who are you? And I am. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And she works with the women's department and all of that stuff. And she does. We listen. We believe that marriage is very important, especially in kingdom. And those individuals who would like to get married, we hopefully turn you up. Hopefully, we can give you guys something that will benefit you in your marriage. Right, speak up, speak up, speak up. Yeah, she trying to be all cute. She trying to be all cute. If I turn one up, I'm gonna turn both up. You know what I'm saying? We on a janky budget. Now somebody want to, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead, give us about 10,000. We can get the best equipment there is, and we'll be good. All right, so cool. Like you know, let's talk about marriage, right? Let's talk about marriage. What do you think marriage is to you? Let me tell y'all why. Y'all can't hear. Which one is different?
I know y'all can hear me now.
Yeah, she
Y'all
on
can hear.
now.
Okay, y'all can hear me now. Marriage to me is it's a covenant, and it's more importantly a covenant with God before it's a covenant with your spouse. I think so many people think when they get married they're just making this covenant with your spouse who you're standing in front of on that day. But that's how we mess up, because if we feel as though we're just making that covenant with our spouse and not with God, that's how people mess up so easily. So we're making that covenant with God first. Don't be rude. Yes, go ahead.
That was an honest yarn.
Go ahead.
It was an honest yarn.
Let's hear your.
It was an honest yarn.
Yeah, you need to get some rest.
It was an honest yarn. It was an honest yarn, guys. It was an honest yarn. Marriage to me is ironing out bad history.
What do you mean?
Ironing out bad history. Because when you get married, the thing about marriage is most individuals do not deal with their history, like past relationships, past hurts, and 9 times out of 10, they don't get the proper help that they need before they get married. Like, I understand being spiritual and all of that, but truth of the matter is, even when dating or courting, right? Like, we don't do it right. And so the moment someone gets married, we have to iron out their history first.
So do we do that when we're married or before?
9 times out of 10, what I've found out in most marriage cases is that you try to do it before, but you try to be this perfect individual for that person and not wanting them to know that you have a past, that your past actually doesn't creep up until it's actually time to get married.
Yeah. That's true.
So that's how I look at marriage. I look at marriage as iron out history so we can move to the future.
Okay. Is that all that marriage is about, though? Just iron.
You asked how I look at marriage.
So is that all that it's about? Do you look at it another way?
Yes. You asked how I look at it.
Okay. Come on. Next question.
You asked how I look at it. No, and that's how I look at it. Now, when you're talking about making sure that marriage is productive, how are we ironing out those histories?
Right.
Communication, patience, right? Those things, right? Because most times, if we're not communicating properly, then we're not going to be patient in moving towards the goal of marriage.
That's true.
So that's how I look at it.
Okay.
Look at it, iron out history with communication, patience, and love, and all those other things. Right? And so I think one of the biggest mistakes that people do is the dating process.
And how is that one of the biggest mistakes that they make or that they do?
Is this my interview?
I'm sorry. It's just a question.
Well, one of the biggest mistakes people make in dating is that they allow their lust to move them before getting information. The attraction of lust hinders individuals to seeing the information, right? It's almost like buying a car. The beauty of a Benz can blind us so much that we don't get the full information of the maintenance.
Yep.
We don't get the full information of what type of gas, how much the gas is.
Right.
And then you get in these relationships based on lust and then found out that it costs a lot to maintain it when we wasn't really fully equipped to maintain it.
That's true.
So I think that's the biggest part in dating, because when we move from dating to courting, the dating aspect is gathering information.
Okay.
Right? Like I need to know your mama's history, your daddy's history, seriously. And a lot of people don't go back because you have to look at it from this fact of there are also generational curses. And you can be marrying somebody's great grandma who was mean.
My God.
You know what I mean? And so gathering that history and gathering that knowledge is
Yeah.
key. What about you?
The mistakes that they make.
Yeah.
I think it's the same thing, because when you're driven by lust, then you really don't get to know the person. So you think you know this person, you move into courting, getting engaged, then getting married and all of that stuff, and then you marry a person you don't even know. So lust is a huge issue, whether being honest, whether you're a Christian, whether you're in the church or out of the church, it's a huge issue in relationships, and I see it being a huge issue now, especially with our generation, because everybody honestly is rushing to get married, and there's a beautiful it's a beautiful thing to be married, but you have to, one, know who you're marrying, know why you're being married, why you're marrying this person, not for glitz and glam or for the day, but for just an actual reason. And that's to spend the rest of your life with that person, but we're just rushing into marriages nowadays, and that's another mistake. We rush into we go by lust, and then that's how we just rush into marriage.
Yeah. What have you learned during marriage? Like what have you learned? So during these years of us being married, what have you learned?
So we've been married almost 3 years, and one of the main things that I have learned is that you are not me. You are not me.
I'm sexier.
You are not me. You will not operate like me. You will not respond like me. You will not communicate like me. You are just not me. And I came into our marriage like, oh, well, you know, mind you, of course, we were dating, engaged, courting, all that for a year and a half, 2 years or something like that. And so when we got married, I don't know what popped into my mind that my husband was just going to be me, and how he responded to things, or how he communicated things, or how he acted in certain atmospheres. I thought he was just going to be how I was, and so that was a big wake up call. Sometimes I still think he's gonna respond the way that I respond, and so when he doesn't, I'm like, oh. But that's one of the main things that I learned, that you are not me, and to really be a little bit more patient with myself, because I'm a person that's very hard on myself when I do make mistakes, but I sometimes get stuck in those mistakes instead of trying to work on being better and correcting the mistake. So I've definitely learned a lot in these 3 years that we are definitely going to share. But yeah, you are not me at all. You will never be me. No matter how much I want you to be me. Yep, you are not me. What have you learned?
Patience. Patience. I
Yeah.
mean, patience. Patience is key. I mean, at the end of the day, I think that patience has been increased. I mean, because one thing is, so for me, I was married before, and being married before, um, it was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna have patience. I'm gonna have patience, and then it's like, all right, cool. Enough is enough at some point, right? Like you're trying to do all that you can. And so you lost your patience from previous relationships. And it's like now I got to get back in. And so for long, it was just myself and my son. We it was just us. So I had patience with him, but I didn't have patience enough to allow someone else to come in and do the same mistakes that another person did. So I had to rebuild my patience. And I think that's key in every marriage, that you build patience. And two, understanding that your past was not like mine.
Mhm.
So you're there's some things that I may know that you may be trying to learn.
Mhm.
And again, you just got to be patient in that moment that we're not killing each other because you're learning.
Mhm.
And the patience, I mean, I've also learned how to accept another person,
Okay.
right? Like as you said, I'm not you, you're not me, and I had to learn to accept you for who you are,
Mhm.
not to change you, not to try to make you fit me. And I think that's a lot of mistakes that people make in relationships. That okay, you want a six-figure guy, but you're dating someone that's making $20,000.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? A year, right?
Yeah.
And so you're trying to change that individual when that individual's mind is only set on making what he makes.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And so I think that's the main mistake that a lot of people make is trying to change their partner,
Mhm.
right? I want my partner to do this, but is that your partner's personality?
Most times it's not.
Right. So how do we communicate to uh, for us to say like, hey, yo, this is where I'm lacking, blah 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 blah
Mhm.
blah. And so patience and communication was very key. Learning, building, and growing, because a lot of people are just not patient. They don't know how to communicate.
Mhm.
So that's one of the biggest things that I'm learning. Um, in this marriage period,
Mhm.
and communication, making sure that we communicate, making sure that we're on the same page. And so how do people with two different paths get on the same page?
So first, I think it's by communicating, and then um, one thing that I'm learning is by compromising, because yeah, we don't have the same past, and we don't have the same experiences. So we got to communicate that. We got to talk about that and then say, okay, well, I know you didn't come from this past, or I know you didn't experience this, but here's how we meet in the middle. I think that's the biggest thing, because if we keep focusing on the fact of, oh, your past is different, my past is different, I didn't like this or I didn't do that and all of that, then we're always going to collide, and we're always going to come to a disagreement, because, of course, we have a different past, both of us, and but we have to come to an understanding for our home, for our marriage.
So the biggest key in a marriage, what would you say the biggest key is?
Compromise and patience. One, because the thing is, I think you know somebody before you get you think you may know somebody before you get married. But you really, when you get in the home together and start really learning each other, start laying together next to each other every night, you really learn who that person is. You see that every move. You're with them 24/7 for the most part. Well, we go to work and everything, but you're with them a whole bunch. So patience, because some things they may do may get on your nerves, right? And so you have to be able to be patient with that, to learn that person again. Yes, you knew them for dating, for courting, and all of that. You knew them for that, but you don't know them. You're learning how that person is in marriage, and then compromise again, because we don't have the same experiences, we don't have the same past. So at the end of the day, we got to come to some understanding when it comes to certain things, whether that's parenting, whether that's how we're going to do our finances, whatever it is. We have to compromise on that. We have to come to an agreement and an understanding, for, again, our home, for our marriage. So that's very important.
What do you think the hardest thing for you in a marriage, when you first got married? What was the hardest thing for you?
Um, for me, I think it was compromise, because so for me, being the youngest, how my life was. Okay, Courtney got her way, because I was my mother's youngest child, and I always got what I wanted. And if I didn't get what I wanted when I was younger, when I was a child, okay, well, we're gonna, sit and pout, or we're gonna, get things our way. And so I always thought, I grew up thinking, because I lived like that. I grew up thinking, okay, well, the world revolves around Courtney, right? And it doesn't. And so then you kind of you're smacked in the face with reality, like, no, it does not revolve around you. And you're gonna have to compromise. So sometimes your husband may do something that you may not like, but at the end of the day, you still got to follow that. And so, not always having the outcome be, in a sense, my way was a huge adjustment for me. Because even while we were dating or engaged, right, I could still make my own decisions where it was only going to affect me. But now I make a decision, it's going to affect my home, it's going to affect our marriage.
Okay. These are good
What was I
questions.
say?
I mean, John, honestly,
Wait.
you have to tell them. I mean, you have to tell them. I mean, the thing is this, right? Like, the unfortunate part is a lot of people just they hide stuff in marriages, and it actually hinders their growth.
Yeah.
Right? Like, if you see, like, okay, prime example, my wife and I, we were on the same phone, right? We were on doing just watching videos on Instagram, right? And a person just pops up and said something, and my wife was like, "Yeah, who is that?" And I told her it was, and she was like, "Oh, what? Okay, cool. We're gonna have to deal with that, right? Because if you don't deal with it, then it would hinder you from being who you are. You will wind up holding yourself hostage based on what you've seen from someone else. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I mean, at the end of the day, this is what I've seen. This is how I feel about it. And John, you have to make a decision to say, I'm going to accept this or I'm not going to accept this. We can try again, but then there has to be stipulations in the relationship. What are your boundaries? I mean, are we doing that or aren't we doing that? What are your boundaries? And the thing is, we have to make sure that we're doing it in a right manner, not yelling and screaming, not jumping.
Right.
Like, I get it, you may be hurt, but communicating in a manner where you're hurt doesn't mess up the communication,
Yeah.
right? Like, that's very important. So just tell them, like, hey, I seen this, I love you. This is where I am. However, you know, this is unacceptable. You know, everything deals with being honest. I think sometimes people are afraid of losing, that they're not honest,
Yeah.
and wind up losing anyway, because you're pretty much holding on to something. You don't want to talk to the person. The person is still going to do what they want to do anyway.
Yeah, and one thing that Ma always told me, that if you're afraid of being honest, what you're fearful of, the thing that you're fearful of happening will be the very thing that happens.
Yeah.
So you're afraid of being honest because you may not want to lose them, but then you're going to lose them for not being honest, because you may be replaying that in your head over and over and over again, and it's causing you not to be affectionate or intimate with your significant other because of what you've seen. So it's so important to communicate, hey, I saw this, in a way in which you're already opening your mind and coming to the table with an understanding of what you may hear. But you have to communicate it, because it's going to be a roadblock in your relationship until it is communicated.
Yeah. And the thing is, the thing is, marriages are tricky. They're very tricky, because especially when you have individuals. Here's why. Okay, here's why marriages are tricky. Because you may have a spouse, or let's say you have an ex, right?
Okay.
You have an ex, and your ex did one thing good and did a million things bad. Then you get married and have an ex who do a million things good, but don't do that one thing that you really like that your ex did.
Okay.
And it will kind of negate the million things that he does good, and you will only focus on that one thing that you like through your ex.
Your ex, yeah.
And that's why relationships are very tricky,
That's
because
true.
that's just like if one of my ex-girlfriends before I got married bought me shoes every day, right? But she was naggy and she was complaining and she fussed and yelled and screamed every day. But then I meet this pretty, gorgeous young lady who was kind, who was nice, who was sweet, who was loving, but she doesn't buy me anything. But she has all of the qualities to bring peace to my life. But I got so used to getting gifts all the time. How do we explain that to people? How do I get rid of the thought of I need those gifts?
I can't answer that one for you because I really to actively work through that. So I think let me say this. I think it's a thing of maturing. Because when you get to a certain age, you realize that all of those gifts and everything like that, they really don't matter, or they're not as important as maybe quality time, or as I would rather you do something nice or just a small gesture than to go out and buy me shoes every day or something like that. But I think it's a thing of maturing, and you have to get to that place to where you say that gifts are not important. Because if you don't get to that place, then I'm going to keep wanting gifts from you when you're not even my ex. And that's, I think that's the thing. It's a thing of maturing. Once you mature, a lot of things that you used to want, a lot of things that you used to accept, you may not want anymore, and you may not accept anymore. So it's a whole thing about growth.
Yeah, growth. That's very hard in
Yeah.
relationships, because people, like as you stated before, people want to be who they are. Let me be me. Let me be me. But there's always two types of you. There's the good you,
Yeah.
and then there's the bad you,
Yeah.
right? Like, I mean, that's just people in general, right? There are two types of you. Like, you have the good you, and then you have the bad you. Which person benefits my marriage?
Right. Yeah.
Right? What person benefits who I am as a person? And I think that's very key, because again, some of us get married because we were struggling together, and now
Oh
one
wow.
person got successful, and the other person is still struggling. How do I build that person up to become successful?
Wow.
Most people who are successful, even when they started with people who they struggle with, can be very mean to that person that's still struggling, right? And it's like, especially in marriages, like nowadays, in marriages. All right, hold on. We got questions. Let's go. What if your spouse had female friends that he has been friends with before you, but you don't approve of him being with those female friends, but he still do? What do you do? Everything has to be a conversation.
Yeah.
Everything has
Everything
to be a
starts with the
conversation.
conversation.
If your husband loves you, okay, I'll give you a prime example, right?
Yes, I was thinking of that.
Again, when we first got married, my wife, I had another phone. It was an old phone, but an ex came up on Instagram. She was like, "You're still talking to her?" We were still like dating, and I was like, "No, no, I'm not. That's old. That's an old phone." But I was still friends with the person, and she was like, "Well, I don't want you to be friends with them." I had to make a choice. Like, all right, cool. Either I'm gonna go with that person, or I'm gonna stay with the one that I want to marry. Right? Like, what is more important? Like, these decisions you have to make in a marriage. What is more important? And you have to have that conversation in a way to saying, "Hey, babe, I don't like when you do this. I don't like when I don't like the way you make me feel when I look up and that person that I think wants you is in your inbox. Instead of getting mad, be like, why you do? Yeah, you doing all that, and right? And that's gonna draw the male back to not even hearing you. He'll just go about his own business, play his, go in his room, watch TV, ignore you, right? Based on how you respond. But having a approach that makes the man hear you is better. So, hey, babe, I saw Shaniqua on the phone. I saw you talking to Shaniqua, but I think that Shaniqua likes you. So, can we come to some type of solution where we can build our relationship between you and I and not Shaniqua? Is that you see what I'm saying? Instead of it being like, you a cheating, like, how I get, right? Like when you see something in your first emotion, you want to be pushing people in the forehead like that. Like that's just oh my God, right? I see it in movies all the time. No, you've never done it.
Oh no,
You've never done it. You have yelled in my face.
Yelled in your face. Okay.
Like spit all there.
Wow.
Like I had spit in my eyelashes for 2 days. That's a joke.
I do want to ask, like, it does start with the conversation and everything. What if if he's been with or he has had these female friends before you, has he been with them, or is it just a platonic relationship where he's just their friend, and it's no harm, no foul, nothing?
Well, that happens though when if you have insecurities too, right? Like so if you have insecurities within yourself, right? Like, or if you have insecurities like saying, oh well, he might be cheating, or it could be maybe I'm not good enough for my husband, or I'm not good enough for my wife. So I feel that way. That may not be the truth, but because I feel that way, it really wouldn't matter who it is. It really matter whether it's platonic or nothing. If I feel in my heart that I'm not good enough for you,
that's true.
I'm gonna hound you.
That's true.
You know what I mean? And that's why we have to be whole within ourselves. We have to be okay within ourselves.
Yeah.
Before we enter into relationships, we have to really deal with ourselves, because if not, if I walk into a marriage with insecurities and you work at a job that requires you to talk to men
every day,
I'm going to think that every man that you're talking to you want, because I have insecurities within myself.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Instead of trusting the other person that this is a platonic friend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Trusting the person that, okay, so like there were instances where a guy was flirting with my wife on Instagram. And it was someone she knew, right? And I was just like, yo, it's kind of weird. He knows you're engaged. But I didn't really say anything more about it, right? But I told my wife, I was like, I trust you. I don't trust him. Because I see his approach, and his approach is like, you don't want to be with that dude. And like one day I had like my youth choir shirt on, but I was the musician, but like everybody had a shirt. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna wear my shirt. And the shirt said Youth for Christ, right? Now here I am, 20 something years old, 29 years old, wearing a Youth for Christ shirt, and he's clowning me. We took a picture together, put it on Instagram. He's clowning me like, oh yeah, you got a little Youth for Christ boy. And you know what I'm saying? He's clowning me. And I'm like, yeah, I don't really care about what he's saying. But babe, come on. Like, you're going to let him clown your fiance?
Yeah.
Like, really? And you're going to be friends with that person? Because at the end of the day, I don't have insecurities. I don't care. I trust my wife or my fiance at the time. But I don't trust that guy, because his advances are not saying, hey, I see you're getting married. Congratulations. His advances are not like, hey, you remember when,
Right.
you know, we went to school together and we was in Miss Pulaski class, right? Like, it's not, those are not the advancements. The advancements is, look at you, you look beautiful. Oh wow, yeah, you know how we used to do back in the day, right? Like those are, and so I'm like, babe, he's flirting with you. No, he's not. That's just my friend. Like, yo, he's flirting with you. You know what I mean? And so she made a decision to say, all right, cool. Well, I'm not going to talk to that individual anymore. There's been cases where we had conversations about other people, and I was like, I bet we're just not going to talk anymore. I mean, that's just what it is. One, because I love my wife and I want her to be comfortable, and it is my job to make her secure, to allow her to be secure within my presence, right? Like, I can't make her secure, but I can help her become secure by making sure she knows that it's all about her, right? I can't make her do anything, but the only thing is I can show her that, hey, babe, I'm here for you. All right. Like, yeah, that person may be like, I remember we were somewhere out at a restaurant, and the waitress was really like flirty, really flirty. And, you know, I'm joking, playing. I'm not even paying attention to her flirting. And my wife looked over at me and was like, so you're just going to flirt with her in my face? I was like, no, I'm not. I'm not. No, not right. And so I had to tone down, like, how I was responding to the waitress to make
Yeah, because it was your personality.
Right.
But, you know, for her, she may look at, oh, he flirting back at me, you know, or he giving me what I want. And so she just kept going. Just kept going. But, you know.
so I had to tone down my personality to make my wife comfortable. You know what I mean? And that's okay. Like, it's okay to
think-
tone down who you are so that the other person won't get offended.
But in that, and I think in that toning down, or however you want to say it, to not, I don't want anybody to get confused in the sense of, oh, well, I changed who I was, or why.
No, I just toned down who I was because I know that if I kept being who I was to the waitress, she would eventually think that I wanted her. But when I toned it down, she was just like, okay, cool. You know what I mean? She was kind of blah, right? And so it's not really, it's compromise. That's the compromise. Like, okay, in order for me to enjoy this dinner with my wife, I got to compromise my personality because I talk to everybody, right? My wife does not, okay? She's from Baltimore, okay? She does not, you know.
Baltimore is a great place, y'all.
Baltimoreans are mean, all right? They are mean. I thought DC girls
You
were
just
mean.
had some good southernness in Salisbury, North
Right.
Carolina.
So
okay?
so I had some
when
time in
you
North
know,
Carolina.
Yeah.
I hope y'all laughing. I got to get some like noises like you know what I'm saying? But not just in North Carolina. I grew up around my grandfather.
Oh, right.
And
yes.
my grandfather would literally talk to everybody. That was my personality,
Yeah.
right? Like, I grew up, I learned that personality through him. And so it could be a random person off the street. And I'm like, hey, what's up, man? You doing all right?
Right, and that's how you do now.
And like, people be like, you know them? No. No, I don't.
Yeah.
Right? So that's my personality, that I'm always joking and playing. And my wife did not understand that. Because she did not come from that background.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
no.
You see how past are different? Like,
Yeah.
our life experience are totally different.
Right. Yeah. So she didn't come from that background where we was like, we're just talking to random people. No. In Baltimore, that random person could be a crackhead and they could take all your money. Okay? That was funny. We love everyone, though. We love everyone, okay? But no, I mean, that... But nah, so but yeah, that's the thing, man. That's the thing, to make sure to make sure that you're respecting each person's past.
Yeah.
Right? And so the thing is, sometimes, right, like I'll say, all right, babe, will it kill you to talk to someone? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, all right, just try it. See how you like it. You know what I mean? And like the thing is we have to be able to build each other up, right? Like, babe, it's just nice to be nice. Well, I ain't grow up like that. I grew up talking to the people I know, right? But then we get out of that space as we mature and we grow, right? Um, yeah, you know.
Yeah, and I think it's important to um, really really help your spouse to grow. And I'm just gonna be honest. I don't think, and initially I didn't want anybody helping me to kind of get to know more people because I was in a shell. And I didn't want to break out of that shell at all. But I then realized, and I am realizing now as I'm growing and maturing, not just as a wife, but as an individual, that it's important to just get to know other people and to be friendly to people. One, because you never know who you're going to need. And then two, it's like, why not? Right? Why not do that? And I had to also understand God didn't want me to walk around standing in the shell and not talking to anybody, you know. So, um, I'm just, you gotta grow and mature in marriage, because if you don't, then you you're gonna be miserable.
So what about all right, so we're married, but I'm I'm still nervous about being married, right? Like you talked about messing up, like mistakes. Do you view marriage as learning or making mistakes? Because like I heard you talking about mistakes and I don't want to make mistakes, but could those mistakes very well be the thing you should learn?
Yeah, like a huge learning curve. I think that now I'm looking at it more so as learning, but initially I looked at it as a mistake. So when I used to mess up in a sense, oh man, I gotta do this, so I gotta try to do that, or I gotta try to make it better, or I might lose them and things like that. That would go through my mind. One, because of again the past, and you thinking, oh well, this is going to happen because that happened in the past. um, and then you focus and you hone in on that on those mistakes instead of learning from them. And I think in marriage you have a huge learning curve, getting to know the person again, learning who they are in marriage, all of that. It's a huge learning curve, because you learn stuff in marriage that you don't know while you're dating, courting, engaged, all of that. Like, you just don't know. You learn a whole different person when you're married.
Well, they say that people change every 5 years.
And yes, they do. How
So
long we?
so like
Well, at this
you're
point,
gonna
I'm gonna
change
change
very
next
soon.
year. Yep, I'm going. No, I'm gonna change this year. I'm gonna change this year.
Oh
Yep, that'll be
God.
5 years.
And so it's always relearning, like
Yeah.
always relearning the person every single day, right? Like, okay, like it's merch talk, so let's talk, right? That's just like when you're young, you're a bull and you're a stallion, like you know what I mean? You you know what I mean? No,
Yeah, yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like,
Okay. Yep.
right?
Yep. Yep. Yep.
You're a
Yep.
bull and you're a stallion,
Uh-huh.
but then 10 years later. Like a donkey and a cow, you know what I mean? Moo. just like I'm moving, I'm trying to get it, I'm trying, you know what I mean? And so,
Yes.
and so because of that, we have to find other ways to be intimate,
Yep.
because you ain't coming in like no, you know what I mean? Or you may just be so tired that you want him to hold you. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so
Yeah.
there's different levels of intimacy,
Uh-huh.
and just like you may like certain people, like your husband may have love when you talk crazy to them. You know what I mean? Like, because even though in kingdom marriages, right, you still have that behind the scenes relationship where your husband or your wife may have gotten turned on by
Yeah.
you saying derogatory things, right? And then you'll have to know when they've grown out of that.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like, so relationships is patient, but also paying attention, right? Like, you have to pay attention to your spouse to know when your spouse has grown out of that place that they were when they were younger, because we try to maneuver and use. Oh, well, you used to like this. Well, yeah, but it's not. I don't like it anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know why I don't like it.
just
Just
don't.
don't.
Yeah.
Right? And then most people would like be in an argument. Well, what am I gonna do? What you want me to do? And then you have an attitude because you have been rejected.
Yeah.
And I think we ain't got to talk about rejection. Yeah. Rejection. Rejection is so big when it comes to marriage. And if you have not gotten over rejection when you were a child, oh my God, or when you were an adult before marriage,
Yeah.
when you get married, you are going to be the most frustrated person there is in that marriage, because what people hate is the word no.
Yes. That's
Oh
very true.
my God. The word no is like taking a toothpick and sticking it in my eye.
Wow. Yes.
It's like a splinter.
Yes. And,
Like,
in your hand.
you know, it creeps up on you like,
Yeah.
you said what?
Yeah.
You said no.
Yeah.
No. Especially when you're spoiled.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Saying no to a spoiled person is like not giving pit bull food.
Yes.
Like, they will lock their jaws on you and they will shake their head until they get a yes out of you, okay?
Yeah.
But even if the no is in its rightful place though,
And it's beneficial.
and it's beneficial for the marriage, like,
Oh Jesus.
you have to be okay with rejection. One, now there's only one rejection that you should not do. There's only one rejection you should not do while being married. That is the big 3-letter word.
Because your body is not your own.
Because your body is not your own.
Ooh, Jesus.
Okay. So I don't care if you're mad. I don't care if you're frustrated. When I rub that inner thigh, throw all your thoughts in the trash can until we finish. Okay. All right. We're losing viewers. I don't know. No, but no, seriously. And that's very key though, because we can reject. Somebody said NDT.
Oh no, she said not.
Oh, not?
Like she's not throwing.
What?
She's not throwing her no.
No.
It's a no for her.
No, you have to. You have to. If you are in the kingdom, you have to throw your thoughts in the trash. Or at least try to communicate them.
Yeah.
And then indulge in the big 3-letter word.
Yeah.
Bing.
Yeah.
Because again, okay, the reason why, okay, so for those who are in the faith, there are some who are not in the faith, but what we know to be true is that what you neglect, someone else will collect.
Mm.
What you neglect, someone else will collect.
Mm-hmm.
And that is very important, that you don't neglect your spouse. Then you're frustrated when someone collects them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like that is very key, that you do not neglect unless you want them to be collected.
Yeah. No,
Because there are females spiritually who can tell when the man or the woman is not getting what they need at home.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why spiritual marriages are very important, that you cover your spouse in everything. And so even when, and see, here's the dangerous part, right? The dangerous part of that is that we say, oh, well, he cheated on me and it's all his fault and I didn't have no parts with it.
Well, we all have, we all have a part.
We
Yeah.
all have
Even
a
if
part.
we're not, and for sure we're not saying, of course, that his actions or her actions were wrong. It's just we do understand that we did have a part of it.
Everybody has a part.
Yeah.
Like even that scripture says that when you neglect your spouse, you open him up for lusting for another spouse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like so when you don't give him what he needs, it actually opens up his mind and his spirit to search after something. Vice versa, females as well.
Yeah.
Men, when you do not take care of their needs, it opens up their eyes and you are actually causing them to lust. Like,
I think when it sounds like that, it sounds like pretty bad as a wife, right?
or a husband.
Yeah, but a lot of times it's
Yeah, it's y'all who try to hold us hostage.
my Lord.
Put a chastening belt on us. What is that word? Is it a chastening belt or is it a chasing belt?
I'm not even going to go there because I don't know.
Somebody in the comments tell me what it is. Is it a chastening belt?
I don't know.
You know, in the old days, they put a belt on you so you wouldn't have sex. You didn't know that? We learn something new every day.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. So, like, in the old days, like, when the young girls would go out, they would put a belt around them and lock it with a key.
Oh, God, no.
I don't know how they would use the bathroom.
Okay.
You know,
Next.
see, she don't want to have no conversations with me. But no, seriously, like they would do that and they would lock it with a key.
Oh, wow. No.
So no one would take their virginity.
Yeah, no. That,
The
God
old
knew
days were
what he
like
was
really
doing
crazy,
when
right?
I was born.
You're not gonna put that on me.
Yeah, he knew.
Who you putting that on?
He knew.
Put that on me.
Jesus.
So that's key that you do not hold your spouse hostage to, you know, the big 3-letter word.
Yes.
You know?
And I think, and I guess one day we will kind of get into that more.
Yeah,
once
today
it
is
was
just
explained,
the opening, just to
Yeah.
let you know
'Cause
that
we
every
should-
other Monday we will be doing this.
Y'all, it then went from once every first Monday to every other Monday to every first Monday.
All right. You guys
every
tell
other
me.
Monday.
Okay, you guys tell me. Once a month or every other Monday. Let's take a poll. Once a month or every other Monday. You guys decide. Once a month or every other Monday.
Well, because I think this is good. You know, you can have. No, we don't want to have dinner on live and we chewing in the mic.
I will be chewing like a mug.
But it's just good to kind of interact. Ooh, Vicky said every Monday.
No. That wasn't
Vicky
even
said
an
every
option.
Monday.
That wasn't even an
My
option.
God, Vicky.
The option was every other Monday,
Say every Monday.
every other Monday,
Every other Monday.
or once a month.
Yeah, I think it's good to hear other perspectives and talk to one another, to hear our own perspectives to one another and to everybody else. So the conversation is good.
I got two.
Every other Monday.
So we have a tie right now.
Well, she said every Monday. So let's say she said every other. So that's 2 for every other Monday. Yes. Y'all pray for us that we get some rest.
No. We're not talking
Oh,
about the 3-letter word. Okay, so Brittany Holmes is every other Monday.
Sorry, my computer's delayed.
We're not talking about the big 3-letter word anymore, okay? We've passed that.
He said, listen here.
We have a minute left. We are only on for an hour. We have a minute left, and we have 30 seconds left. So we're going to go with every other Monday.
Oh, okay. Every other Monday
Every other
it
Monday.
is.
Every other Monday. Now, listen,
see
if
that
you all
every
have
Monday.
any questions, we're going to get into finances. We're going to get into children, blended families, because we are a blended family.
Yes.
We're going to get really in depth. Some stuff may be said that may offend you. So put your big girl pants on and your big boy drawers on. And let's not walk easily in offense. I think that's one of the keys that will help your marriage grow to not always be offended really, really quickly. Because as soon as you get offended, you draw and put up walls, right? And once the walls are up, it's gonna take a I don't know, a bomb to pull them down sometimes.
That's very true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like so. All right, we got every other Monday. So put in the chat well, send us a direct message to the New Destiny Temple of Faith page. Come on and like all of our pages. We have Instagram page, and we have YouTube, and we have Facebook.
Yes.
And we have Facebook.
Come on now,
All right.
sister.
And so today we take on these Mondays, we take off our pastor hats,
Oh, I'm sorry. Come on now.
and we take off our first lady hats, and we just be real with you, but we're still pastors and first ladies. All right. Well, hey guys, it's 9:00. Thank you for joining. You can put all of your questions and in the DMs, and we'll be on again next.
Not next Monday.
Next after next Monday.
Yes. You know what, y'all? We will see y'all soon.
All right, y'all. We getting out of here, but before we get out of here, we're gonna do a little jamming. Are you ready for a little jamming? Oh yeah, oh yeah. All right, y'all not dancing. I don't see nobody on here dancing. All right, we're going with our theme song, "When I Found You."
Y'all heard the note.
Huh?
They heard the note.
They heard the note.
that I hit.
In a minute, it'll come on.
My Lord.
It gets better after this, guys. I'm trying to tell you, it gets a lot better after this.
Need a playlist.
We definitely need a playlist, but enjoy.
When I found you, I found somebody who cares. When I found you, found my most intimate prayer. When I found you, I found what every heart dreams of. When I found you, I found love. When I found you, I found the rest of my life. When I found you, I told all others goodbye. When I found you, I saw my fears fly away like a dove. When I found you, I found love. I know true love sounds crazy, worth waiting for. You are the one, my only, forevermore. When I found you, I found my fate in your arms. When I found you, I found no cause for alarm. When I found you, I knew this love was a gift from above. When I found you, I found love. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know true love sounds crazy, worth waiting for.
Until next time, we love you.